Okay, so here we are with episode 5 of the Bay Area Sports Podcast. I'm, as usual, Steve Rubin here. I'm going to be doing this one solo again. And what I'm going to do is kind of revert back to what we did in the beginning. And I'm going to be talking about the Warriors, the Giants, and the 49ers. All three of these teams kind of the state of the union for each of them as of right now. And a lot has happened since episode 4. Before episode 4, we're going to go right into the Warriors. So episode 4, we were talking about, how exciting it was, and Curry's playing out of his mind, and the Rockets came. And the Rockets are historically bad playoff team. Just horrible mixture of guys. Like, there's no leadership, poor coaching, but they played rough. And that led to, we all saw Curry getting injured in game 1. He tweaked, quote unquote, tweaked his ankle. And as Warrior fans, we all freak out when that happens. I mean, when he tweaked his ankle, we're like, oh no, this is what happened to Curry when he first came up. He just kept getting injured, and we were just, internally all freaking out. We're trying to play it cool on the outside. Like, if someone said, "You good?" I'm like, yeah, totally cool. But inside, I was freaking out. Like, oh my God, is this it for Curry? Are we going to try to have to go through the whole entire playoffs without him? Okay, he comes back. He comes back, and it might have been too soon. It was a freak injury to hurt his knee when Monte Eunice fell and his sweat was on the ground. He slipped on it, but maybe it was a little too early. He tweaked his knee. And then we went through the same exact thing we did with his MRI results with his ankle. We freaked out again. We're all sitting there, and I'm checking Twitter, every second to see what the MRI results were with the knee. And one of the best case scenarios was a mild strain. I think they called strain 1 or something like that. And he was only out 2 weeks. So here we are in the predicament. The Warriors are up 2-0 to the Portland Trailblazers. Do we bring back Curry? And I have to say no. I honestly say keep him out until we lose a game. If we lose this next game on Saturday, game 3, then he comes back game 4 on Monday. I think we just got to play it that way. We got to play it safe with this guy because we're going to need him for the next potential series, whether that's against the Spurs or the Thunder. We're not beating either of those two teams without Curry. We're absolutely not. So getting all of our ducks in a row, making sure everyone's healthy, that's going to be the biggest thing for us. Obviously, we still got to beat the Trailblazers. This isn't easy. And Game 2 showed us that. But Game 2 got me going, I swear. Like, that game, every single emotion that can happen in a human being in a 2.5 hour to 3 hour span happened. I'm excited, I'm mad, I'm upset, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm elated. Like, everything happened in that 2.5 hours. But in the end, we won. We were down 17 at one point, down 11 going into the fourth quarter, and that's where most teams would fold or just kind of give up. But the heart of our team is Draymond Green. And Draymond Green has a heart of a champion, and he does not give up. And this actually leads to my next question that I ask for all you guys. And feel free to answer this in the comment section below. Who is the MVP of the Warriors? Yes, Stephen Curry is going to be the MVP of the NBA for sure. Is Draymond Green the MVP of the Warriors, even ahead of Curry? This is a question I ask you. I honestly think he is. I think if you take Draymond Green out of what we're doing, we don't have a guy to step up that can do what he does. Whether that's defensively or running the point by being a point forward or point center that he can be. Like, we don't have that anywhere else. And if he's out, let's say Curry's in and you take Draymond out, I don't know who's playing that 4. I guess you can put Harrison Barnes in the 4 and then put Iguodala at the small forward position, but it's just totally different. What makes the Warriors is Draymond can play defense with Bogut down low, rim protect. And then Draymond's going to get that ball and start running down the court. And he's like a quarterback, and then he's going to find the open man, whether that's Curry or Thompson or even Barnes or even at times a lob pass to Bogut. But what makes us so elite is that no one can guard him. And if someone like a point guard tries to come out to him, he's just going to back him down. It gives us so many options offensively with Draymond running that point. And you saw that a lot last game actually, game 2, is that he would be sitting out front and he's just looking. He's better at making reads than Kaepernick, in that he's looking at all 4 of those guys and he's going to see who's open and he's going to pass it to them and then they're going to make the play. And you saw that with Barnes in the left-hand corner of the court, hit him a perfect pass and then he just drove in and dunked it. I mean, that was a thing of beauty. I think all around, Draymond Green might be the MVP of the Warriors, while Curry is the MVP of the league. Like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever said, and some people might not agree with me, but I think when it comes to who can we afford to lose the least, it's Draymond Green. So that's my little rant about Draymond Green. If you know me, you know that I love that guy. So I'll go on next to more of a sad topic, and that's going to be Luke Walton. This is going to be just like Alvin Gentry last year, where he had said in the first series, just like this, that he was leaving to go to the Pelicans. So we know he's leaving. You know, his heart and everything is still with us right now. I'm not worried about that. It's kind of a bummer to see him go. He was so good at a calming effect, actually. He just has that cool, calm, collected vibe to him that I think really is good for a locker room and is good for a coach. So I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy for him. It was an opportunity that I know that he couldn't pass up. So congratulations, Luke, but that's a bummer on our end. But, okay, so going back to Game 3, I don't think Curry's going to play. It's going to be a tough one. This is going to be probably the toughest game that we'll play when it comes to the Trailblazers, because definitely Curry's not going to be there. And Game 3, the first game of coming home, they're always more pumped. This is the game, it's almost like a trap game. This is the game that we lost to Houston. You know, losing to Houston's insane, but we did lose to Houston. It was Game 3 because they're pumped to go home and all that. So only time will tell. I think we're going to be okay in this series, but the last game, Game 2, was a huge win and just makes everything more clear into how we're going to work with Curry and then how we're going to just win the game. I think it's just going to make things a little bit easier and less pressure on all the players. So, great team win. Let's go to the Giants now. So, Episode 3, if you listen to me in Episode 3, I was losing my shit kind of to the Giants, saying, oh, they're so great. I'm so excited, you know. And, you know, we then lost a lot in a row. We got swept in 4 games to the Diamondbacks at home. We lost, I think, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 maybe to the Rockies. Just, it's been kind of a tough go. And there is some reason to that. I mean, I definitely, like I said in Episode 3, the back end of our rotation is not just a question mark. It's something that's going to have to be, something's going to have to happen here soon. PV is looking like he's done. It's been an entire month and you have a 9 ERA. That is pretty hard to do. You know, I'm not even mad. I mean, that's just impressive to get a 9 ERA. I think we got to seriously look at Lincecum. Lincecum has a showcase this Friday, the 6th of May. And if he's willing to come back to us for a 1-year deal, I think we can put PV on the phantom DL. We do that all the time, where he said, oh, his elbow hurts, and he's not really that hurt. And we just see what Lincecum can do. I wouldn't be shocked if he just wants to start off fresh, but I say go for it. Lincecum, we all love Tim Lincecum, you know, for what he's done, and it sounds like based off some of the stuff that he said, he's kind of regrouped. He's kind of got his mind back, so only time will tell. But I would like that. Obviously, Heston is a next choice as well. Last time I had seen, he was either injured or not doing so hot in AAA, so we're really kind of caught in not a great spot right now. it seems like we're winning all the games with Bumgarner, Cueto, and Samardzija pitching, but we're losing every game that Kane and Peavy are pitching, which is not a good thing to have. Because let's say if Bumgarner does lose a game, then you're screwed. It just puts a lot of pressure on the top three guys. Even though I'm elated by the way Samardzija and Cueto have pitched lately. So even though Cueto didn't do so hot in Cincinnati, I think it's more of like felt a lot of pressure. He really wanted to show them, up since he played there for so long. Just an emotional game. So he'll be back on track with his next game this weekend. So, and one other issue with why we've been, scuffling a little. I say scuffling and we're still in first place, which is ridiculous. But my hopes are high, and my hopes are more than just one game over 500. I want to be one of the top teams, and I think we have the ability to. And one of the other reasons is our bullpen. Sergio Romo being hurt is huge. Javier Lopez is not pitching like Javier Lopez has usually pitched. We just need one of the rookies to step up. And whether that's Derek Law or Okert was up for a while. Osich has already really stepped up, so that's pretty awesome. You got a good lefty guy that's going to take over for Javier Lopez and has already taken over for Affelt in that position. So we just need our main guys like Casilla and Strickland and those guys to just do their job. That's going to be the key thing. We need them to do their job. And so, time will tell. People can be in funk, so I'm not too worried, but bullpen might be something that we need to address halfway through the season here. And our hitting is looking great. Duffy's kind of getting out of that slump he was in. Unfortunately, Panic is hurt, which I hope is not something that we see often. I hope this isn't a trend. He already has been hurt a couple times as a young guy, so only time will tell with that. But Kelby Tomlinson is okay. But if Panic keeps getting hurt like this, we have Christian Arroyo, our first-round draft pick from a couple years ago. He has torn it up. He's torn it up. Is that, God, that's horrible. I just said it. He's torn it up every single place he's gone. No, he tears it up, and every single place he's been amazing. So I think, and if you look at all of our guys that we've had out of our system, it's always been that way. Posey tore it up every single step of the way in the minor leagues. So did Belt. So did Pablo. And it just kind of shows who's going to be good and who's not. And it just the cream of the crop always rises. And Arroyo will be here eventually, but he's only 20 years old, so there might be a little bit more time on that. But Dodgers are losing, so that's a good thing. I just always want to be ahead of the Dodgers. Worst case scenario, we don't make the playoffs. If we're ahead of the Dodgers, it's okay with me. I'm not stoked about it, but I just like beating those Dodgers. I hate those guys. So the Giants, we're done with that, and we're going to go to the 49ers. This is where I would not be surprised if all of you guys stop listening here. I totally understand it. I get it. The 49ers. You just heard a siren out. I don't know if you heard that, but people are, they heard me talk about the Niners, and they're over it. It is not a fun topic. It is not. We went from being one of the best teams in the league to one of the worst. Absolutely the worst. And the thing that sucks the most is there's no real vision. I feel like Jed York's in over his head. Trent Baalke doesn't know what he's doing. And, Chip Kelly could be good, but there's just not enough in his deck for him to be successful as of right now. We don't really have a quarterback. We don't really have an O-line. We have so many holes in that defense. The offseason was really a disappointment for me. I was in full-blown loser denial. I really was. And I was like, we're going to sign Bruce Irvin. We're going to sign this guy. We're going to sign that. And it wasn't the case. They all went to the Raiders. The Raiders. Are you kidding me? That is, oh gosh, I sound like episode 1 all over again. I just can't believe that how quickly our two teams have swapped. And the Raiders have such a bright future, Where the 49ers, like, it's not a bright future. We don't have a quarterback. So many holes. It's tough. But that's what makes the draft so appealing, is that you're like, okay, this is where we can build this team back to where it used to be. This is where we can make the right draft picks. This is where we can pick the diamonds in the rough in the late rounds that make you successful. The first couple picks I absolutely loved. DeForest Buckner with that first pick, that's how you win, is you get pressure on the quarterback. You stop the run. That is what we had with Justin Smith on that D-line, and he's going to be like that Justin Smith. And last year's draft pick, Eric Armstead, they're almost clones. They're like 6'7", 295. Buckner's way better, but Armstead will actually be better because we have Buckner. Buckner will get double teamed, or Armstead will get that single coverage on the right tackle, and he'll be able to then have a little bit more pressure. So, great signing. I loved it. It's exactly what we need. In order to win in the NFL, it starts with the trenches, with the offensive line and the defensive line. And in that same breath, offensive line, we drafted Joshua Garnett out of Stanford, and he won the award for Best Interior Lineman in college. That's offensive and defensive lineman, interior lineman. So that's a pretty awesome award. I mean, I don't know. It sounds pretty good to me. By watching him on film, he looks great, but, it's a guard. It's hard to really watch a highlight film of him. But, getting someone for the O-line in the first round is huge. And you saw us do that in 2010 when we drafted Anthony Davis and Mike Iupati, and that changed our team. And I think it puts us in the right direction. We're not going to be good next year. I constantly have to fight my loser denial that I come up with. I'm like, maybe Blaine Gabbert will turn it around and be really good. Let's stop. We're not going to be good. Hopefully we can just have some glimpses of where we show improvement and we can battle against some teams. Like, I'd love to put up a fight against the Seahawks. We're not going to beat them, but let's put up a fight. Let's have a close game instead of getting blown out like we have the past couple years. So that's all I'm hoping for with the 49ers. Hopefully we get the quarterback situation figured out. Looks like Kaepernick's here. I don't know if you've seen this picture of him, but you should look it up. Just Google search Kaepernick skinny. There's a picture of him a couple weeks ago, and he looks bad. He looks like not like a quarterback or any athlete at all. He's just scrawny. He looks weird. Needs to cut his hair. God, I used to love that guy. But who knows? Maybe Chip Kelly can resurrect him, but I'm not getting my hopes up on that. So it's going to be a tough time for the 49ers, but I like the first two draft picks. The rest, in a bulky way, he just always gets stuff that have question marks. Like we had 12 picks, and the only two picks I liked really were the first two picks. All the rest were question marks. So only time will tell. Hopefully he knows more than we do. But at times it doesn't seem like he does, which is really, really frustrating. But hopefully he made some good picks later in the round. But like always, I'm going to be doing another episode 6 probably in the next couple weeks, probably right before the Spurs and the Warriors matchup, or Thunder and the Warriors, or knock on wood. Hopefully we get there. But just hopefully the next Warriors matchup, let's say that. And we'll just go over in greater detail that matchup and maybe do a player by player, depending on who they play against. So like always, in the comment section below, maybe ask some questions that you guys might have for the next podcast, or maybe a topic you want me to go over. I might even have some of my friends come in that are knowledgeable about the Sharks, and we could have maybe a little bit of a mini Sharks podcast, because what they're doing is pretty cool right now. They're in the second round, and they're up 2-1 to the Predators. I mean, who knows with that, We've just been heartbroken so many times with the Sharks. It's hard to get your hopes up as of right now, but so far so good on that front. But thanks, guys, for taking the time, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Have a good one.